I was a-walking one morning for pleasure, spotting Cowboy riding along. His hat was pushed back and his spurs were a-jingling. As he approached, he was singing this song. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, you know that Wyoming will soon be your home. Early in springtime we round up the dogies, mark 'em and brand 'em and bob up their tail. Get out those horses and load the chuck wagon, push those old dogies out on the long trail. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, you know that Wyoming will soon be your home. Know that your mama was raised down in Texas where the Jimson weed and the sandburrs grow. We'll fill you up with prickly pear cholla, then push you off to Idaho. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, your misfortune and none of my own. Whoop-tie-I-oh, get along, you little doggy, know that Wyoming will soon be your home. Thank you. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. I'm glad that you decided to come and spend some time with us. My name's Gary Sprague. I'm known as Arizona Singing Cowboy, and I was born in 1951. So when I was 7 or 8 years old, on Thursday night, we all huddled around the TV to watch this one. Rolling, 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 rolling. Oh, the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rolling right. Don't try to understand them, just rope and throw and brand them. Soon you'll be living high and wide. Rawhide's calculating, our true love will be waiting, waiting at the end of my ride. Move on, hit 'em up, move on, hit 'em up, rawhide. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, ride 'em in, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, rawhide. Yeah, yeah. Rolling, 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 rolling. Keep moving, moving, moving. Though they're disapproving, keep them doggies moving right. Through rain, wind, and weather, hell bent for leather. Wishing my gal was by my side. And all the things I'm missing, good victuals, love, and kissing, are waiting at the end of my ride. Move on, hit 'em up, move on, hit 'em up, rawhide. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, rawhide. Yeah, yeah. Rawhide. Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, so this lady from out east, comes here to Arizona, and she's out for a while, and she decides to go on a horseback ride. So she goes down to this stable, you know, where they do the ride, and she walks up to the wrangler and she says, now, you know, I've never really been on horses before, and do you have a nice gentle horse that I could ride? He said, oh yes ma'am, we have all kinds of horses, and we have 2 kinds of saddles. She said, you have 2 kinds? He said, yes, we have Eastern and we have Western. And the woman said, well, what's the difference between Eastern and Western? He said, well, the Eastern saddle, you just sit on it, but the Western one has a horn. And the lady says, oh my goodness, if there's that much traffic out there in the desert, I'm not going for a ride. And you know, when people come here, especially in the summertime when they come here, it is so hot. Has it been hot enough for you this summer? Yeah, well actually this summer hasn't been too bad. This year we hit maybe 3 or 4 days where it was 114, 115. Last year we had over 10 days that was over 118 degrees. And halfway through the summer my wife looks at me and she goes, I am sick and tired of this cool temperatures. I want 118. I said, really? She said, yes. I said, well, why do you want that? She said, well, if it's 118, like last year, get out of work, go down to the grocery store, buy some stuff, throw it in the trunk, drive home, back into the garage. I open up the trunk and dinner's already cooked. And so you can, with temperatures like that, you can imagine some cowboy out there on the desert singing this one. All day I face the barren waste without the taste of water, cool water. Old Dan and I, with throats burned dry and souls that cry, oh water, cool, clear water. The nights are cool and I'm a fool. Each star's a pool of water, cool water. And with the dawn, we'll wake and yawn and carry on to water, cool, clear water. So keep on moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man. He spreads the burning sands with water. And can you see that big green tree? The water's running free. It's waiting there for you and me. Water, cool, clear water. Shadows sway and seem to say, tonight we pray for water, cool water. And way up there, he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water, cool, clear water. Now this cowboy knows that his horse is mighty thirsty. So he sings these words to him again to keep him moving until they can find a spring to get another drink. Keep him moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man. He spreads the burning sands with water. And can you see that big green tree? The water's running free. It's waiting there for you and me. Water, cool, clear water, cool, clear water. Thank you. Thank you. Now, a lot of you know about my horse Dusty, and he's sad that he can't be here. He just has to stay home and play with the other horses. How tough can that be? And but he's not here today. And just to let you know, Dusty, the average lifespan of a horse is 30. I got Dusty when he was 2. By the time he was 3, he was doing little campfire shows and that kind. By the time he was 7, he was doing everything, and he was sick and tired of the whole thing. And he looked at me back then and he goes, "So when does Social Security kick in for equine?" I said, 21. This year on his 18th birthday, he looks at me and goes, 3 more years, I'm out of here. 3 more years. And 18 years old. So he comes to me a couple days after his birthday and he goes, "Dad, I'm having a midlife crisis." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, I'm having." I said, "What? Oh, I know. You're going to go out and find a 25-year-old blonde singing Cowboy now, right?" And he goes, No. I want to do plastic surgery." I said, "You don't want to do plastic?" He goes, "Yes, I do. I want to do plastic." I said, "Really? What are you going to do?" He said, "I want longer ears. I want a shorter tail. And I'm going to dye my hair brown." I said, No, you don't want to do that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because if you do that, you'll look like a jackass." He always sings ragged music to the cattle as he swings back and forth in the saddle on a horse that is syncopated, gated. There it's such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater. How they run when they hear the fella come, because Western folks all know he's a highfalutin, rootin' son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime Cowboy Joe. Out in Arizona where the bad men are, the only thing to guide you is an evening star. The roughest, toughest man by far was ragtime Cowboy Joe. He got his name singing to the cows and sheep. Every night they say he sings are heard to sleep in a bass voice, rich and deep, crooning soft and low. They say he sings raggedy music to the cattle as he swings back and forth in the saddle on a horse that is syncopated, gated there. It's such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater, how they run when they hear the fella come, because Western folks all know he's a highfalutin, rootin' son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime Cowboy Joe. He's a highfalutin, rootin' son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime cowboy. Talk about your cowboy, ragtime Cowboy Joe. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been a singing cowboy for 25. I've been actually playing guitar and singing for money for 50 years this year. And the first half was folk music and rock and roll, and then the second half has been country. Well, it started out as country, and within about 2 or 3 years, I became the singing cowboy. So for 25 years, I've been a singing cowboy, and this has been a whole bunch of fun. And I live up in Cave Creek, and people say, "Oh, all right, so 25 years ago, 30 years, you became a cowboy. Do you have any cowboy friends?" I said, "Yes." And one of them, they call him Pert Near Perkins. For if in that booger never lied, he'd pert near done everything he ever tried. He'd pert near been a preacher, pert near roped a bear. He met up with some Comanches once and pert near lost his hair. He pert near wed an heiress with money by the keg. He pert near had the measles, and he pert near broke a leg. He'd pert near been a trail boss, and according to his claim, he pert near shot Bill Hickok, which pert near brought him fame. He pert near rode some broncs to which no one else had stuck, and to hear him tell the story, he pert near drowned a duck. Well, all the fellas here at the Lazy SB Spread, we took his talking with a grin and let him fight it in his head, except for one. A guy named Tom McGinnis. Now, he told it to him rough. He said, "You're riding for an outfit now. We're pert near. It just ain't enough. We tie our last ropes to the horn. What we catch, we hold. And pert near's one alibi we never do unfold." Well, that's the way old Tom McGinnis, he laid it out on the line, and like a heap of preaching talk, it sounded mighty fine. Except one day he was riding out alone. He lamed up his horse and had to borrow a nearby neighbor, Nestor's roan, to ride back to the ranch on. Somewhere along the way, them Nestors held him up and said, "There's hell to pay." He said, "I didn't steal your horse. I just borrowed it to ride." But them Nestors hated cowboys, told him that he lied, cussed him as a horse thief, said they caught him with the goods, and they set out to hang him in a nearby patch of woods. Had him all surrounded, their 6-gun set to shoot, and this poor old cowboy figured he'd heard his last owl hoot. They tied a rope around his neck, threw it up over a limb, and poor old Tom McGinnis figured that was the end of him. Suddenly, a shot rang out from somewhere up on that hill, and them Nestors, they dropped that rope and took to running like Nestors sometimes will when bullets go to whizzing. Tom's heart leapt up with hope to see old Pert Near Perkins riding at him at a lope. "I got here just in time," old Pert Near Perkins said, "to see them Nestors hang you." Tom's face turned mighty red. "You pert near did." He pert near grinned. "Pert near had me strong. You're looking at a cowboy who's pert near been hung, and one who also has changed his mind. 'Cause no two words sound so sweet as pert near when said when a man's been pert near dead." Thank you. Thank you. So I was born in 1951, and I was one of those kids who got to grow up on Saturday morning. Kids don't have good TV anymore, because when I grew up, there were cowboy shows all Saturday morning. There was the Lone Ranger, Pancho and Cisco, Sky King, Roy Rogers, all those cool shows and stuff. And now they don't. And they ask the question. Nowadays, they ask, "Does television affect children?" Yeah. Apparently so. Oh, and look at this. It looks like a guitar that Roy Rogers would play. Doesn't it? Yeah. Looks like it. And so, all right. So if you're going to do, all right, okay. If you're going to do Roy Rogers, you got to do this one. And you all know this one, so let's all sing along. Are ready? Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the together. Just sing a song, bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Some trails are happy ones, others are blue. It's the way you ride, the trail that counts. Here's a happy one for you. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Thank you. Thank you. Now, some people know, and some people don't. Roy Rogers was actually one of the original members of the Sons of the Pioneers, and at that time his name was Leonard Sly. And Leonard, well, the Sons of the Pioneers, when they got started, they were writing music for some movies, but they didn't get a starring role or get to actually sing the songs in the movies. But they would play bit parts. Their music would play in the background, and then they would play extras. And there is a movie called The Old Corral. If you can find the movie Old Corral, it's a Gene Autry movie. And Gene Autry is driving a prisoner on a bus through the woods, whatever, and the bad guys fell a tree, and so the bus stops, and everybody gets out to see what's going on. Then the bad guys come riding up on their horses and doing the hold-up thing. The reason I bring up the movie is because, as we know, Roy Rogers replaced Gene Autry as the big singing cowboy at one point in time. In this movie, about 10 or 12 years before this happens, Roy Rogers, being Leonard Sly, Gene Autry on one side of the rock, Roy Rogers on the other side of the rock, Roy Rogers holds up Gene Autry and taking stuff out of his pockets and stealing stuff from him and everything, which is kind of God's way of saying, okay, Gene, if you don't be careful, this guy's going to take your career. And it did happen. If you're going to do Sons of the Pioneers, you got to do this one. See them tumbling down, pledging their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along the tumbling tumbleweed. Cares of the past are behind, nowhere to go but I find just where the trail will wind, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed. I know when night is gone that a new world is born at dawn. I'll be traveling on, deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed. I'm a lonesome cowboy, riding all day long, tumbleweeds around me sing their lonesome song. Nights underneath the prairie moon, I ride alone and sing a tune. See them tumbling down, pledging their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed. Thank you. And if you're going to do Roy Rogers, you got to do this one because he used to do this all the time. He was one of the best. Hi-dee-o-lady-o, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hi-dee-o-lady-o, hallelujah, hallelujah. When I reach the end of Rodeo Road, don't shed no tears for me. When I reach the end of Rodeo Road, been my home, and I've always walked in leathers, and I've always rode alone. Hi-yi-yo-lay, hallelujah, hallelujah, hi-yi-yo-lay, hallelujah, hallelujah, they say my days are numbered, they say I'm way too old, but I still feel the hunger to ride in the rodeo. When I reach the end of rodeo road, don't shed no tears for me. When I reach the end of rodeo road, set my ponies free, set my ponies free. Thank you. Thank you. So back in the old days, you know, there were a lot of what they called roving cowboys. They'd only work on the ranch long enough to get enough money to move on to their next place. And one day, one of these roving cowboys, he rides into this town he's never been in, and he decides he rides up, he goes into the bar, he walks up to the bar and orders up a beer. And he's standing there drinking this beer, not knowing that the guys in this town love to play practical jokes on strangers. So he's sitting there drinking his beer, not bothering anybody, and they go out and they take his horse. A little while later, after he finishes up his beer, he walks out and his horse is gone. He turns around, he walks back in the bar. All right, I don't know who took my horse, but this is the deal. I don't like it when somebody takes my horse. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm ordering up one more beer. I'm going to stand at the bar, I'm going to take my time and drink that beer, and if I walk out there and my horse is there, everything is fine. I'm going to get on my horse and just walk right out of town. But if my horse ain't there, I'm going to do what I did in Texas. And trust me, you don't want me to do what I didn't. You don't want me to do what if I have to do what I did in Texas, you're not going to. Don't make me do what I did in Texas. My horse had better be back there. So he turns around, he orders up another beer, and he stands there at the bar and he drinks it. He goes back out after the beer, and his horse is there. So he unties his horse, jumps on the horse, and slowly walking out of town. And the bartender runs out and goes, hey, everybody in the bar wants to know, what did you do in Texas when your horse wasn't there? He looked at him and said, I walked home. So when I was down here talking with some people, somebody said, yeah, I like country and western. And country and western is kind of one of those cool things because country and western comes from the time of Gene Autry, Johnny Cash, Marty Robbins, and those kind of entertainers, because they would sing cowboy songs and they would sing what we would now call country songs, more for the popular audiences and stuff. And Johnny Cash was one of these country and western guys. And there's two kinds of cowboy songs. There's one that has a verse and a chorus, like You Are My Sunshine type verse. And there's one called The Chisholm Trail. I have a book that has 54 verses in it. So they can go, everybody writes their own thing. And some people will create a nice long poem and then put it to music. And Johnny Cash, one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs is one of those cowboy long poems put to music. And it goes like this. Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to on me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Well, I really don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did, before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought it was quite a joke, because I got a lot of laughs from lots of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some gal would giggle and I'd get red. Some guy laughing or I'd bust his head. Life sure ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean. My fists got hard, my wits got keen. Roamed from town to hide my shame. So I made me a vow to the moon and stars that I'd search the honky-tonks and bars, give that man that give me that awful name. Now it was Gatlinburg in mid-July. I just hit town, my throat was dry, so I thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. In there in a saloon out on a street of mud, at a table sat dealing stud, that dirty old mangy dog to give me that name. Well, I knew that snake was my own sweet dad from a worn-out picture that my mother had. I knew that scar on his cheek and his evil eye. He was big and bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood run cold. I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Now you gonna die." Well, I hit him right between the eyes, and he went down, but to my surprise, he come up with a knife, cut off a piece of my ear. So I smashed a chair right across his teeth, and we crashed through the wall into the street, kicking and gouging the mud and the blood and the beer. Well, I tell you, I fought tougher men, but I sure can't remember when he kicked like a mule and bit like a crocodile. You know, I heard him laugh, then I heard him cuss, and he went for his gun, but I pulled mine first. Then he just stood there and he looked at me and he smiled. He said, "Son, this world is rough, and if you're gonna make it, well, you gotta be tough. I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along." So I gave you that name and I said goodbye, and I knew you'd have to get tough or die. It's that name that's helped to make you be so strong. Now you just fought one hell of a fight, and I know you hate me. You've got the right to kill me. Wouldn't blame you if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in your guts and the spit in your eye, 'cause I'm that dirty that named you Sue. Well, what could I do? What could I do? I got all choked up and I threw down my gun. I called him Pa and he called me son, and I come away with a different point of view. You know, I think about him every now and then, and every time I try and every time I win. And you know, if I ever have me a boy, I'm gonna name him Bill, George, anything but Sue. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so there's real cowboy music, there's Hollywood cowboy music, and there's originals that I've written. And I told you about the song that has 54 verses in it. I just picked out a few of them. Here's an authentic cowboy song that's over 125, 130 years old. It comes from about 1870, 73, somewhere in there. And it is about the trail that goes from southern Texas all the way up into Kansas. It's called the Chisholm Trail. And every cowboy who rode on it found out about this song and started writing his own verses and kind of created his own little story. Well, come along, boy, listen to my tale, all about my troubles on the old Chisholm Trail. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. On a $10 horse and a $40 saddle, I went out to punch longhorn cattle. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. It's up every morning before daylight, before my workers see the moon is shining bright. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. It's bacon and beans most every day, soon we'll be eating that prairie hay. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. With my seat in the saddle and my hand on the horn, I'm the best dang cowboy ever born. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. Now it's cloudy out west and it looks like rain, but dang old slicker's in the wagon again. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. No shafts, no slicker, and it's pouring down rain. Swear I'll never ride night herd again. Tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. Now I've crippled my horse, I don't know how, trying to rope up to you, cow. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. So I went to the boss to draw my roll, figured me $9 in the hole. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. So me and my boss, we had a little spat, hit him in the face with my 10-gallon hat. Tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. Come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee-yippee-yay. Thank you. My favorite example of a Hollywood cowboy song, there's a bunch of them, but this is my favorite one because it's got a great story behind it. Johnny Mercer, the big band singer and songwriter and all that kind of stuff, he was in New York in the early, about 1935, 1936. And he's in New York, and he gets a phone call. We're in Hollywood, and we need some songs for movies, and we got a couple cowboy movies, so we need some cowboy songs too. So as he's going across northern Arizona, every time the train stops at one of these little cowboy towns like Ash Fork and Seligman and stuff, he notices the cowboys they're not riding horses anymore. I mean, they're kind of like on buses, or on trucks and cars and that kind of stuff. So he's like, did we lose the American cowboy? Is the cowboy really, don't we have real cowboys anymore? Just in the movies? So he sat down at lunch and he took out his napkin and he wrote down this song, I'm an old cowhand. How many people remember the song, I'm an old cowhand? But nobody ever listens to the words of the verses. They go, I'm an old cowhand. And that's all everybody ever. But if you listen to the words of each verse, you'll realize that the song is about, we don't have real cowboys anymore. And it came out in a movie, 1938, called Rhythm on the Range. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, but my legs ain't bowed and my cheeks ain't tan. I'm a cowboy who never saw a cow, never roped a steer cause I don't know how. Sure ain't fixing to start it now. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and I learned to ride before I learned to stand. I'm a riding fool who's up to date, cause I know every trail in the Lone Star State. Ride the range in a Ford V8. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and I come to town just to hear the band. I know all the songs that the cowboys know about the big corral where the jockeys go. I learn them all from the radio. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and the West is wild near the borderland, where the buffalo roam around the zoo and the Indians make you rugger too. The old Bar X is a barbecue. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande. Thank you. So a song that I wrote, I've been singing cowboy for 25 years now, and toward the beginning of my career, people would come and go, so the singing cowboy thing, it looks like a lot of fun. I said, yeah, it is. And they go, have you always been a singing cowboy? No. Did you have other jobs? Yes, I did. And they go, you know, you're so lucky to have a singing cowboy job. I mean, this looks like so much fun. I mean, it's better than my job. I think I'm going to quit and just become a cowboy or something. I mean, it looks so, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you really want to do that. In my head, I'm saying that. And I think all of these guys need a song, because a lot of us growing up, when I grew up, watched like the Elvis movies and those other movies that were like musicals, and every time Elvis would get into a situation, all of a sudden the music would start to play and he would start singing a song. And same with Roy Rogers and all those guys. And I just thought, you know, if a guy decides he's going to quit his job and go out and become a cowboy, he needs a song to walk away from the job with. So I wrote this one. There are times when I feel I am out of time, when the hassle and hustle are too much to take. So I sit back and dream of saddles and jeans and a time and a place I should be. There are times when I say that I am gonna leave, sell the house and the car, buy a rig, boots and spurs, but I'm stuck in this rut. If I just had the guts, I'd bust loose and start heading west. 'Cause when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy, just an old paint named Dusty who's waiting for me. There's me and Hop Along, the Duke and some friends will be riding the range, and you won't fence me in. There's a range that I long to ride, nobody's seen, where saguaros hold blue sky up over my head, and when the sky turns to red, I'll lay down my head, and the coyotes can sing me to sleep. 'Cause when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy, just an old paint named Dusty who's waiting for me. There's me and Hopalong, the Duke, and some friends. We'll be riding the range, and you won't fence me in. No more standing in line, watching the time. You can have your city stress, I'll be home, home on the range. And when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy. When I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, you know, the singing cowboy thing, it's been a lot of fun. It has had its moments from time to time. There was the time that somebody said, so, all right, can you do the national anthem? I said, yes. And they said, with your horse? I said, sure. Where would you like me to do it? They said, at a hockey game for the Phoenix Coyotes. I actually, if you can go on YouTube, if you can find it, there is a video of my original horse, Steele, and I walking out onto a rubber pad on the ice and doing the national anthem for a hockey game. This is kind of cool. Another thing we're doing, over here in Glendale, there's an adult community called Glencroft. And in Glencroft, years ago, I used to be there like every other month and stuff. And I had just gotten Steele, so this is like 25, 26 years ago. And Steele and I had been working for about a year and a half together. And the activities director finally hires us to do a show outside for all of the residents. So we get out there, 65, 70 residents, and we do the show and stuff. And the activities director goes, you know, it was kind of cold here today. You notice everybody's in jackets and stuff. And we had this one lady, she's 92 years old, and she wanted to see a real cowboy. She's from New York. She'd never seen a real cowboy. She wanted to see a cowboy and his horse, but she decided it was too cold. She was going to stay up in her room in bed. And I said, well, let's go visit her. She said, are you sure? I said, sure, why not? She said, well, she lives on the second floor. I said, okay. She said, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. Come on, let's go. So we walk around the building, you know, and you get to the front doors and the Star Trek doors open up and Steele and I come walking in and everybody at the front desk going, it's a horse. And we walk down, they walk us down to the hall to the nurses station. We get down there. Now there's like 9 people following us. And so we walk down, and we get down there, and I looked at the activities director, and I said, Shirley, how do we get to the second floor? She goes, well, there's a stairwell right here. I said, okay. So I walk over, and I open up the door, and I got the ends of the reins, and Steele and I walk over, and I walk up, you know, you go halfway up, and there's that little landing, then you turn around and go all the way up to, so I walk up, and I'm like, come on, Steele, come on. And he's like, I don't know if I want to go, I don't know. And would somebody tap him on the butt? Well, somebody thought we were supposed to go to a rodeo. Because I see this arm go, whack! And Steele's like, all right! So he's barreling up the stairway, and I'm like, oh. And so I whip around the corner, I go up to I open the door just in time for him to go into the hallway. We get up there, and, you know, I wait for everybody to come on up. And then we go down the hall, and I actually have a picture of this little 92-year-old, I mean, she had to weigh about 90 pounds. And she's laying in her bed going, wow, he's really big. Patting them and all that kind of stuff. So we're done in there, we walk back out, we're at the nurse's station, and now we've got like 15, 20 people. People from the floor, people who followed us, and we're questions and all that kind of, we're talking for a couple minutes, and this little lady goes, excuse me, cowboy, but I'm kind of concerned about you and your horse. I said, really? Why? And she said, I heard that commotion of him coming up the stairs. Oh my goodness. I thought the truck was coming through the wall. And I'm kind of scared about your horse. I said, why? She goes, well, I'm afraid of him going down those. I mean, what if he were to trip and fall? Don't people love to come up with disasters in their head? What if he were to trip and fall and land on his side and break a leg in the stairwell? What would you do? I said, ma'am, don't worry, he's going to be just fine. She goes, are you sure? I said, yes, ma'am, I am sure. She goes, how do you know? I looked at her and I said, because we're taking the elevator, and I pushed the button. And the door opened up, and Steele and I walk into the elevator, you know. As we're slowly going down in the elevator, you can hear like 90 people running down the stairs because they want to see pictures. A couple weeks goes by, and I get a call from Shirley, the activities director, and I say, hey, how's it going? She goes, oh, it's really good. I got to let you know, in the mail tomorrow, you're going to get this flyer. We have 19 properties around the country, and every month, they only pick 4 or 5 properties to do a special article about. And this month, they're doing the article about you and Steele being here and all that stuff. I said, wow, that's really kind. And out at the front door, you know, when you walk in, there's a desk, and there's this big cork board there where they put up 52 pictures of you and Steele. I said, really? She said, yes. I said, well, thank you. She said, no, I had to do that. I said, you had to do that? She said, yes, because every time we keep telling people there was horse in the building, they wouldn't believe us, so we had to put up 52 pictures of the 2 of you doing those whole thing in the building. So as the singing cowboy, you do get into some weird situations. Oh, look at this guitar. It's over here by the campfire. Hold on. Got to warm my hands up just a little bit. It's a little chilly here. Let me see. Wow, that sounds like Willie's guitar. And a Willie Whalen song that would fit me would be this one. Doesn't this sound like Willie? Grew up dreaming of being a cowboy and loving the cowboy ways. Pursuing the life of my high-riding heroes, I burned up my childhood days. Learned all the rules of the modern-day drifter. Don't you hold on to nothing too long. Take what you need from the ladies and leave them with the words of a sad country song. My heroes have always been cowboys, and they still are, it seems, sadly in search of, and one step in back of themselves and their slow-moving dreams. Cowboys are special with their own brand of misery from being alone too long. You could die from the cold in the arms of a nightmare, knowing, well, your best days are gone. Picking up hookers instead of my pen, I let the words of my youth fade away. Old worn out saddles and old worn out memories, and no one and no place to stay. My heroes have always been cowboys, and they still are, it seems, sadly in search of, and one step in back of themselves and their slow-moving dreams. Sadly in search of, and one step in back of themselves and their slow-moving dreams. Thank you. So years ago, how many people remember Pinnacle Peak Patio Steakhouse? And it's up in the hill there in northern Scottsdale, and for a while, they had like 9 dining rooms out there, and then a couple outside places. And one night I'm in one of the dining room areas, you know, singing and stuff, and the guy comes up to me at the end of the show and goes, "Are you busy tomorrow, Sunday afternoon?" I said, "No." He goes, "Do you want to work?" I said, "Well, of course I do." He said, "Would you come down to the Phoenix Civic Plaza and do a job?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And he said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what's it for?" He said, "The Golf Expo." Okay, well, I'm thinking to myself, I've never played golf, have no clue about golf except mom and dad and that kind of stuff. So I said, sure. So I go down there and I get all set up and stuff, and he goes, 2 sets, all right? I said, sure. So I go up and I play the first set and I walk off the stage and he goes, "Don't you know any golfing songs?" I said, "You mean they have some?" He said, I thought you, I mean, I told you it was a golf, I thought you would know there's some golfing song. I said, no, I didn't know there was any golfing. And he said, well, now I have to tell you, as an entertainer, local entertainer type guy, there are a lot of people who will hire you, and then they will find out some reason not to pay you. And I thought, you were too loud, you didn't play the music. And I'm thinking, this guy's one of those guys, you didn't play any golfing song, so I'm not paying you. So I took my 15-minute break. And I went back to my mom and dad, conversations at the dinner table, Christmas, Thanksgiving, picnics, whatever, about them playing. Each one of my parents have 3 holes in 1, so they're golfers. My dad was a scratch golfer. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, I have to come up with a golfing song. So Willie and Waylon saved me a paycheck. We now have a golfing song. Golfers aren't easy to love, and they're harder to hold. They'd rather stay on the course than ever go home. Old wooden drivers and lies on their scorecards, and each course they just have to play. And if he sees some rain clouds, he'll get an umbrella, 'cause the back 9 he still has to play. Here we go, everybody. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or don't let them be duffers and tally scorecards. Keep that man home, make him work in the yard. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or 'cause he'll never stay home and you'll be alone. That shows you which one he loves. Golfers like clear sunny mornings and skies without clouds. Playing the back 9 and never waiting for crowds. 'Cause he'll want to play through and pass by slow yahoos who can't get the ball off the tee. He'll lie to his honey and then play for skin money and stay in the bar drinking with me. Everybody, come on, here we go. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or don't let them be duffers and tally scorecards. Keep that man home, make him work in the yard. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or 'cause he'll never stay home and you'll be alone. That shows you which one he loves. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or don't let them be duffers and tally scorecards. Keep that man home, make him work in the yard. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Or 'cause he'll never stay home and you'll be alone. That shows you which one he loves. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be golfers. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do just a couple more and then we'll get things set up for bingo. Okay. Lunch comes first? Oh, well then, we'll just keep going then. Heck, you can eat lunch while I sing. Yeah, that's no big deal. That's no big deal. All right, so if we're going to do that, let me do this. So a lot of people don't know that Arizona is kind of the place where the Hollywood Cowboy movie got what it was going to be. Let me explain. Silent movies came out, so they started doing Western silent movies, and the big actor in the silent Western movies was Tom Mix. Tom Mix lived in Florence, partied in Tucson, and made all but 3 of his movies in Prescott. And so he's the guy who created a lot of what we expect to see in a cowboy movie. First off, when they went to a ranch to get, because in a silent movie, all you have to do to act in a silent movie is this. And then they put the words up. So you really, and that's all you got to do. So Tom Mix wanted to be the big star, so he actually was the guy who started sewing conchos and ribbons onto his shirt to make him look fancy, went out and found the biggest hat he could find. He went out and got some of the Native Americans to teach him how to do some trick shooting off his horse and have his horse do some other trick stuff too. So Tom Mix was really a big innovator. And this gun rig is a Hollywood gun rig. This isn't, in the Wild West, nobody had anything like this. If you owned a 6-gun, most of the time, if you had money for a firearm, you bought a shotgun first. If you could afford a 6-gun, you didn't have it out in the dust and dirt. You actually had it in an oily rag in your saddlebag. And if you had it in a holster, it was what they called a buscadero. And it sat right here. So if you were riding on your horse, there it was. Never gets in your way. Not likely to get stuck by a twig or something to pull out of your pocket. Now this old gun, you do this, nothing happens until you pull this back. When you do that, yes, it's empty. When you do that, hold on. Yep, it's empty. So I can shoot off my mouth, I just can't shoot off my gun. So you gotta do this, and then pull the trigger, and then it goes. So in the old days, for the gunfights, they would take 3 fingers. They would start pulling the gun out of the holster. They would put this finger in the trigger guard, hold the hammer down, and pull this back all at the same time in one motion, so that when they went to do the gunfight, it was that fast. And the guys who really practiced in 24/100ths of a second could do that. So when they tried doing that with real gunfighters in the original Hollywood movies, nobody saw the gunfight because it was way too fast. Nobody fanned the gun, nothing like that. So the producers come up with this gun rig. And they tell all the cowboys, when you shoot the gun, pull it out and go like this. Because this, I mean, here's the original gunfight, and now everybody gets to see it. So Tom Mix goes, okay, if this is what everybody's doing, Tom Mix was the guy who came up with, and everyone went, did you see Tom Mix in the movie? He took that, and he went, which was really cool until some guy said, well, if that's cool, then that's better. You know, and before you know it, you're going to the rodeo show, and the guy's coming out, okay, so we got the backward spin, we got the forward spin, we got the spin around the top, we got the spin around the bottom, and now we can go like this. And if you're ambidextrous, you know, all of a sudden you're doing this type of stuff. Which was kind of, but the Lone Ranger decided, well, if everybody's going to go out over the top like this, I'm going to go down under the bottom, and the Lone Ranger went like that. And instead of doing the fancy spin thing to put him away, he would just talk to Tonto and do one of those deals. So that's the whole gun thing. And different cowboys had their different things that they did with them and all that kind of stuff. 25 years singing Cowboy, and it's been a lot of fun and everything. And at one point, does anybody remember a bar called the Satisfied Frog? Up in Cave Creek, and I got a job singing at the Satisfied Frog for a while, and the owner up there invented this stuff called chili beer. It was when Corona first came out and they were putting a lime in the beer, and he decided instead of lime, we'll put a chili pepper in the beer. So they brewed beer with hot chili pepper in it, and then just to make it look good, they stuck a pepper in each bottle. It was the worst tasting stuff in the whole world. I mean, if you're going to have beer and hot stuff, yeah, drink the beer, then eat the hot wing, okay? So, but I'm sitting there and I'm singing, I'm working for this guy, and I thought, okay, if he's trying to promote this stuff all over America, he needs the chili beer cowboy. So I decided if there's going to be a chili beer cowboy, the chili beer cowboy needs a song. At the base of Old Black Mountain in the Arizona sun, thirsty out-of-towners were looking for some fun. Long ride on a hard trail had left them mighty dry. The tired desperados had me looking their eye. So they stormed into the old saloon as if they owned the town, and ordered the bartender to serve the gang around. He took a lime and tried to force it down into his beer. From a cowboy at the end of the bar, a voice he could hear. If you think you are tough on race, you'll have to prove it here. I'm as for wimps, taste the heat from an ice cold chili beer. Leader of the pause, put his drink back down, stared down at the cowboy who swallowed his beer down. Then he saw the bottle with a pepper root inside. He said, I ain't no wimp, so I'll give your beer a try. So he pushed aside his lime beer and ordered once again, give me one of them chili beers and give them to my friend. They took a bottle of the fruit down and thanked the chili beer cowboy for turning them around. If you think you are tough hombres, you'll have to prove it here. Lime is for wimps, taste the heat of an ice cold chili beer. If you think you are tough hombres, you'll have to prove it here. Lime is for wimps, taste the heat of an ice cold chili beer. Thank you. And apparently his chili beer thing didn't go very far because I'm not as well known as the Marlboro Man. And nobody remembers the Marlboro Man. So that just goes to show you. Well, I'm going to do one more song. I hope you enjoyed the entertainment this morning. Thank you very much. And you know, I've been a singing cowboy for 25 years now. And a few years back I decided, you know, I've been happy doing this whole thing. You could say I've been happy in the saddle for 25 years. So I decided I should write a song, and I'm not really creative. So you know what the title of the song is? Be Happy in the Saddle. And when I wrote out the first chorus, you know what the first line of the chorus is? Be happy in the saddle. When I finished writing the chorus, I realized I had written a sing-along song, and the only line you have to know how to sing is be happy in the saddle. Oh, you guys are quick. And to sing it, it goes like this. Be happy in the saddle. That's all you got to know. One more time. Be happy in the saddle. So let's all sing along. Here we go, everybody. Here we go. Be happy in the saddle. Sing a happy song. Do it again. Be happy in the saddle. Smile when things go wrong. One more. Be happy in the saddle. Fill your heart with cheer. Whenever you're feeling lonely, you're always welcome here. All head up and heading out, leaving the SGR. By the look in those eyes, you're planning to go far. Saying there's adventure, some thrills out there to chase. You're telling me it's time to go, cause you're tired of this place. We all sing, be happy in the saddle. Sing a happy song, come on. Be happy in the saddle. Smile when things go wrong. One more. Be happy in the saddle. Fill your heart with cheer. Whenever you're feeling lonely, you're always welcome here. Everybody gets the urge to look for something new. From time to time, it's one of those things we all must do. When excitement starts to dwindle and you feel like you're off track, just turn your horse right around and start to head on back. And be happy in the saddle. Sing a happy song. Come on. Be happy in the saddle. Smile when things go wrong. One more. Be happy in the saddle. Fill your heart with cheer. Whenever you're feeling lonely, you're always welcome here. All right, everybody, one more time. And if you know the whole chorus, sing the whole thing. Here we go. Ready? Be happy in the saddle. Sing a happy song. Be happy in the saddle. Smile when things go wrong. Be happy in the saddle. Fill your heart with cheer. Whenever you're feeling lonely, you're always welcome here. Whenever you're feeling lonely, you're always welcome here. Thank you all very much. I hope you had a good time. Thank you. There are times when I feel I am out of time, when the hassle and hustle are too much to take. So I sit back and dream of saddles and jeans and a time and a place I should be. There are times when I say that I am gonna leave, sell the house and the car, buy a rig, boots and spurs, but I'm stuck in this rut. If I just had the guts, I'd bust loose and start heading west. 'Cause when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy, just an old paint named Dusty who's waiting for me. There's me and Hopalong, the Duke, and some friends. We'll be riding the range, and you won't fence me in. There's a range that I long to ride, nobody's seen, where saguaros hold blue sky up over my head. And when the sky turns to red, I'll lay down my head, and the coyotes can sing me to sleep. 'Cause when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy, just an old paint named Dusty who's waiting for me. There's me and Hopalong, the Duke, and some friends. We'll be riding the range, and you won't fence me in. No more standing in line, watching the time. You can have your city stress, I'll be home, home on the range. And when I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy. When I leave here, I'm gonna be a cowboy.